As you know, Money Smart Week is a national campaign. The week started on Saturday, and it goes through this Saturday. We've got workshops from the cradle to the grave. We've got teens and money, kids and money, adult classes and workshops. And so we urge you to share the information with your communities to get them in the workshops. You can go to moneysmartweek.org and look on the state, and you'll see a list of workshops there. And we are happy to report we have over 60 workshops for our first annual event. We have over 78 partners, and it is just going to grow exponentially from here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I do want to share, I do want to thank the Atlanta Federal Reserve for partnering with us and for hosting this event. We couldn't have done this without you guys, so I thank you so very much. Thank you for being here. I have Councilman Alex Wan here. We did get a proclamation from the City of Atlanta. And I'm happy about that because for our first, one of my personal goals was to have this campaign recognized in the City of Atlanta first before it reached state level, and that goal was accomplished. The other goal that was accomplished, I wanted at least 50 workshops, and we've done that. And so I'm so happy, I'm just turning flips in my head. So, okay, Councilman Alex Wan, District 6. Councilman Alex Wan has been proudly serving as a council member since 2010. Educated at Georgia Institute of Technology, he earned a Bachelor of Industrial Engineering there in 1988. In 1993, he went on to attend the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned a Master of Business Administration degree with a concentration in finance. Since then, he also attended the Minority Business Executive Program at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. Councilman Wan's public service hardly began with his election as the representative of District 6 in 2010. Two causes that have always been particularly close to his heart are disadvantaged children and the community affected by largely invasive illnesses such as cancer and HIV/AIDS. Councilman Wan is a man who lends his talent and time to eradicating these illnesses and erasing the burden on families and children affected by them. I'd like to introduce Councilman Wan to read the proclamation for the City of Atlanta.
Thank you, Venus. Good morning, everyone. It's a real honor and privilege for me to be here on behalf of the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta City Council. I want to thank everyone for braving the weather and coming out for a very, very important event. Also want to congratulate the organizers. I was reading a lot about this and hearing the numbers just this morning. Very impressive. And it's no small feat to coordinate all the different collaborators that have to come together to put an event like this on. But most importantly, I want to thank the participants because financial education is something that I've spent my life trying to do. I have a lot of questions myself that unfortunately won't be able to attend your 60 workshops to get the answers to. But I trust that while you're here today that you'll take something back, you will learn something, you'll raise some more questions, but you'll continue the learning process. I'd like to quickly just read the proclamation that was delivered by the Atlanta City Council. It's in recognition of Money Smart Week, April 5th through 12th, 2014. Whereas the Atlanta City Council is pleased to join Money Smart Week partners in celebrating a week of programs and activities designed to help consumers better manage their finances through the collaboration and coordinated efforts of hundreds of organizations across this nation. And whereas Money Smart Week was created by the Federal Reserve Bank in 2002, and Urban Asset Builders, Inc. has initiated a formal team for Greater Atlanta, including the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, as well as a host of partners in education, financial literacy, and community developments. And whereas these businesses, financial institutions, libraries, schools, not-for-profits, government agencies, and the media come together once a year to stress the importance of financial literacy, inform consumers about available help, and provide free educational seminars. And whereas the Assets and Opportunities Scorecard is a comprehensive look at Americans' financial security today and their opportunities to create a more prosperous future by assessing the 50 states and the District of Columbia on 133 outcome and policy measures which describe how well residents are faring and what states are doing to help build and protect assets. Georgia's overall rank is 49. And whereas Money Smart Week will offer programs to all demographics and income levels and covers all facets of personal finance, from establishing a budget to first-time home buying and estate planning. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Atlanta City Council, proclaim April 5th through 12th, 2014 as Money Smart Week in the City of Atlanta and encourage all residents to participate in the activities designed to improve our personal finances. This is signed by Cesar Mitchell, Atlanta City Council President, and all members of Council. So congratulations and thank you for being here today. Oh, yeah. Photo time.
Thank you. Now, isn't that wonderful? Wonderful. It is Money Smart Week in the City of Atlanta and beyond. I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Christ. Is it Chris? Christ. From the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, who's going to do the opening remarks. Michael Christ is Vice President and Public Affairs Officer in the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta's Public Affairs Department. In this role, he is responsible for the bank's communications, which include media relations, publications, websites, conferences, and outreach activities such as speeches, economic education, and corporate citizenship. He also oversees the bank's internal communications and the knowledge and information management function. Chris, an economist, also leads the Atlanta Fed South Point blog, which provides commentary and observations on regional economic topics. Mr. Chris, thanks.
Thanks, Venus. I'm glad you stopped there. The rest of it's kind of, the other stuff was boring. It gets even worse after that. Thank you very much for being here today. On the behalf of the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, welcome. How many folks have been to the bank before? Just show of hands. Oh, you're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to, if you haven't been here, check out our museum down. Of course, I'm gonna do a plug. I work in public affairs now. But it's also a great thing to bring students to. We have, what is it, Amy, about 27,000 people? Where'd Amy go? Oh, about 27,000 people came into our museum last year. Okay, so it's a great resource. Not only does it have cool things like a gold bar in it, but there's also a lot of great educational tools that the students get quite a bit out of. Here at the Atlanta Fed, we understand the importance of financial literacy and economic education. It's clearly a very essential and important part of helping students develop financial behaviors that are going to help them later in life. One of the things that I found in my previous life and working in the research department here at the Atlanta Fed was the number of folks that understand what the economy is doing, what the Federal Reserve does, what the Federal Reserve is. It was surprisingly weaker than I thought it would be. Studying economics in school, full disclosure, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to the economy and data. So anybody that's not as excited about the economy as me, I just can't understand what it is that they're missing. But there was a big gap there. And the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta and our other partners throughout the Federal Reserve System are really trying to address that. Not only because of the importance of teaching kids about financial literacy to help them make better decisions later in life, but it's really about making them better citizens, if you think about it. How can you really participate fully in the economy and really our democracy if you don't understand how the financial system works? And that's been something that's really driven me to work with our economic education team, even back when I was in the research department. It was always something that I thought was essential and an important part of our job here at the Atlanta Fed. I have 5 kids, and my wife is an educator, so I know the importance of teaching kids. Some of them it's easier to teach than others, but these ideas of financial literacy, I think, really permeate everything that they do. And I'll give you an example. This morning on the way in, I carpool with my son, who's a junior down at Georgia State, on Mondays and Wednesdays. He goes to class all day, so we drive in together. And he does what he usually does on Monday mornings, and that sits in the seat next to me and sleeps, which isn't exactly the most thrilling conversation, but I only bump him when he starts to snore because he works all weekend, but he's a good kid. So we're driving in this morning, and the conditions. I live way out in West Cobb County, so it was kind of a haul to get down here, and I hear this snap. The windshield wiper on the passenger side just came off, and it's hanging there going back and forth. And it's slowing down my windshield wiper, and it's raining. I'm on 75. So I rolled down the passenger window real quick and knocked him. I said, Philip, get that windshield wiper. And he kind of looks at me like, what in the world are you talking about? So he reaches around. So picture this, he's like leaning outside the window on I-75 at 7 o'clock in the morning trying to get the windshield wiper. And he snags it and brings it in, and he says, how much did you pay for this thing? The financial literacy in action. He understands the most important point of what we're talking about. But in all seriousness, it's a very important thing that this group is doing. We're happy to partner with you and also with groups like the Georgia Council for Economic Education, of course the Consortium for Financial Literacy as well, and a number of other groups, not only in Atlanta, but throughout the whole Southeast. You met Amy Hennessy briefly. She runs our team that consists of 6 professional educators who are dedicated to helping teachers learn how to teach economics and financial literacy, and they just do an outstanding job and such an important part of what the Federal Reserve does. And again, part of our job is, when you think about the mandate of the Fed, it's really to try to create economic conditions that people could thrive in. And economic education is such a key part of that, because you can have a thriving economy, you could set everything up the way it's supposed to run, and if people don't have the tools to really participate in that, we're not going to achieve everything that we can. So that's why we started this program, the Federal Reserve System, back in the 1970s, I believe, and we built it up the way we have here at the Atlanta Fed. One more quick point. I think we all learned quite a bit from the recent financial crisis. And there's a lot of laws that came out of that, strengthening consumer protection or creating different areas of consumer protection. I kind of see that as a necessary evil in today's world. It's playing defense. It's trying to protect people, in a sense, from being taken advantage of. And the things that we're doing and the things that you're doing really are putting us on the offense. It's giving people those skills so they're not going to be taken advantage of. So they'll be better equipped to make smart financial decisions. They'll know what savings are all about, and hopefully understand that a windshield wiper costs about $15, which, now that I think about it, maybe is not that financially literate after all. But it's all about trying to make our country better, make our country stronger. We have a lot of work to do here in Georgia. Alex mentioned that we were 49th. We can do better, and I think through programs like this, we are well on the way to achieving that. So thank you very much again for coming, and thank you, Venus, for organizing this. Turn it over to Amy.
Okay, next up is Alejo Torres. He is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. And I have to thank Alejo so very much, because he was very instrumental in helping us to get launched here in Atlanta. I called him when I was driving and just to ask a few questions about Money Smart Week. And he said, we've been wanting to get in Atlanta. And I said, when do you want to come? And he said, I'll come certain days. I said, I'll call you right back. And I got on the phone and I called the Georgia Center for Nonprofits and asked them, did they have a room available? I booked it, called him back. I said, you're on. We want to see you here. So he came at the beginning of, I think it was 2013, right before the Money Smart Week for 2013, but we were a little bit late in getting started for an organized effort. So we decided to have him come back in the fall, and he did. He came right back here. We had a great turnout. I think we had about 50 people in the room for our orientation meeting, and so here we are today. So Alejo, I appreciate you so much. Flew in this morning, flying right back out. Alejo Torres is a senior outreach manager for the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. His chief responsibility is coordination of financial education initiatives and programs, particularly Money Smart Week, held annually in about 45 states, and I think it's a little bit more than that now, right? The educational campaign involves more than 1,500 local, regional, and national organizations that collectively provide more than 3,000 free money management seminars and activities each year. Among his many duties for Money Smart Week and beyond include community outreach, partner building, strategic growth, media relations, and program analysis. Torres joined the Federal Reserve in 2005 after more than 5 years of community building and financial capability experience with United Way, Lake City Bank, and Resurrection Healthcare. Torres currently serves on the Board of Directors for Community Media Workshops, the Economic Awareness Council, as well as an Investor Education Advisory Board member for the University of Illinois Extension, and council member of the Wisconsin Governor's Council on Financial Literacy. He received his BA degree in communications from Grace College in Winona Lake, Indiana. Welcome, Alejo.
Thank you so much, Venus. I think I have to really especially thank Venus. Now, all of this is not possible without her dedication, her passion to get this going here in Atlanta. It's like she said, it was just basically a call to us and say, hey, I see what you're doing up there in Chicago in the Midwest with Money Smart Week. How can we bring that to Atlanta? And from there, it's turned into this. So I wanted to recognize Venus and really make sure that we're all thanking her for putting this together. So thank you, Venus. She is, in some respects, in terms of coordinating this and sharing this effort, a one-woman show. We do have a lot of partners involved and some committee members, but she is taking the responsibility to lead this effort, and so that takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and it's all volunteers. So you can't give back more than that. So I just want to thank you so much. I do want to thank my colleagues here at the Atlanta Fed, Michael and Amy for hosting and partnering with the local organizations here for Money Smart Week. As Venus read from my bio, I've had the opportunity to go all over the country to spread Money Smart Week and try to get other communities doing what we do in the Midwest. So I'm thrilled to be here in Atlanta and launching it in a city the size of Atlanta. And to give you some perspective, we started Money Smart Week in 2002 in Chicago, even before I got to the bank. But the whole idea from the very beginning was how can we, at the Federal Reserve, leverage partnerships? How can we use our influence in the financial industry to bring together banks, to bring together financial institutions, nonprofits, libraries, et cetera, and get them to work together on this thing called financial literacy. And from the very start, that's what it's been about. It's about raising that awareness and sharing ideas and best practices for the public, because people are confused. They're not sure where to go, who to trust. There are a lot of organizations that are working side by side instead of together. And the whole point was, again, to bring these organizations together, showcase what you do for this 1 week, but also it showcases it for the week so that consumers have access and they know where to turn the rest of the year, right? All year round, they now know where to go for good information. So that first year in Chicago, in 2002, we had 40 programs, so you did better. So you got 60 here in Atlanta, so we started small, but since then it's just been folks like Venus who just call us and said, because we never intended this to be a national program, but we just continue to get more and more calls from people around the country and say, how can we replicate what you've done in the Midwest? And as you mentioned in the bio, 3,000 events we had last year. This year we have 4,000 events that are scheduled in 47 states. And on top of that, we have some events in D.C. We have some events in Bermuda as well. We have a national partnership with the American Library Association, and they've pushed this out to all their libraries, not just nationally, but internationally. Last year, we had some in South Africa. We had some in Australia. So it's just really turning into not just a national, but an international movement. And what I love about the program is that it's staying true to what we wanted to accomplish in the beginning, which is partner building, building coalitions, sharing best practices on how we can best reach consumers, young people and old, right? And it's just really maintained that spirit. And so since I've been able to see so many things and work with so many amazing people, I know that this is going to be successful here in Atlanta. I know because the track record of the program, because you have leadership like Venus here locally, but that really is what it's all about. And it's not just about the numbers. Every year we get feedback from consumers through surveys, and folks tell us how much they appreciate the fact that these resources are available, that we're making them available, that we're making such a big deal about it. We get 90th percentile almost every year in every state that folks say that they found the content valuable or that they would recommend it to a family or friend. And so that says a lot about the organizations in the room, right? So all of you that are partners here, providing resources, workshops, et cetera, are doing a good thing, and you're doing it well. And so I want to thank you for your participation, your expertise, your passion, your commitment, because again, without you at the table, we don't get these resources to the masses, and we don't have an opportunity to get the media involved and make a big deal about it and make sure people are aware. So definitely want to thank you all for everything you're doing with Money Smart Week, and I hope you have a successful week. Also want to congratulate the young people we have in the audience today. Our Money Smart essay contest, which I know is going to be covered here in a minute. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. But that's something that we've tried to use as, again, just another example of a best practice that was started somewhere else, but we thought, might work here in Atlanta. And it's one of our favorite parts of Money Smart Week, is because we're reaching young people directly and getting them engaged and getting them to think about money and how that's going to impact their life today and tomorrow. And so the fact that you're here and you're participating in the discussion, I think is a big deal, and long-term is going to be good for your financial future. So I want to just say congratulations to the young people. But again, thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here, and I'll turn it back over to our fearless leader, Venus Lockett. Thank you.
But our keynote speaker today is Deidre Cox. And I just want to add a little bit here. I really appreciate everybody being here, because that means you're just as passionate about the mission of financial education for everyone. And even though I was blessed to be able to initiate this, I could not do it without all of us working together. I'm the Chief Empowerment Officer at Urban Asset Builders. We're a social enterprise with a nonprofit heart. And I say that because everything that I've done has been on a volunteer basis. There's no budget for it. I'm a one-woman show right now, and so, but I'm really, really passionate about empowering people and, financial education. And as I said, I couldn't, get this going, and we couldn't do it without working with each other and collaborating with each other. There's a wealth of resources out there. There's a lot of programs out there, but there's still a disconnect. A lot of people don't know where to get it. Some people are afraid to get it. So this is just an opportunity for us to let the community know what's out there that's available to them, and a week for us to set our own agendas aside and then give back to the community where they can come in and get the help that they possibly need. So I just want to, I can't thank you guys enough, and I know it's going to grow from here. I expect to see a lot of you on the committees next year, for next year, so just thank you so very much. Ms. Deidre Cox, with over 31 years of community development and banking experience, Deidre Cox pours her time, talent, and energy into her role as Vice President, Community Development Officer at the Brand Banking Company in the Atlanta metro area. Deidre has dedicated the past 10 years of her award-winning career focused on building economic sustainability models for small businesses, nonprofit organizations, community faith-based organizations, and families through economic literacy. National financial education expertise, Deidre worked tirelessly with Tavis Smiley, PBS, PRI talk show host, author, commentator, Kelvin Boston, host of MoneyWise, best-selling author, public speaker, financial journalist, and David Bach. I know you guys know who David Bach is. Best-selling author of the Finish Rich book series, to bring the timely message of community development and wealth creation by way of affordable real estate acquisitions to middle-income, diverse communities at a time when the real estate market was thriving. This message was delivered through a series of holistic economic development workshops hosted across the country in partnership with Wells Fargo. As she watched many of her clients struggle to make a paradigm shift in their thought processes as the financial markets took a drastic turn, Deidre saw the overwhelming need for economic literacy to become the undergirding principle from which all financial decisions are birthed. She created a post-purchase home ownership curriculum for Brand Bank, which was facilitated every Saturday to the bank's first-time homebuyer loan portfolio for 2 years. This curriculum was designed to empower and educate first-time homebuyers on how to make homeownership a sustainable lifestyle, even in the midst of economic turbulence. Deidre pioneered Brand Bank's financial literacy efforts in the Gwinnett and Cobb County school systems in partnership with their national online financial education partner among high school students. The platform was completed by over 7,000 students in a 2-year time frame. Thank you, Deidre. Community focused, as a widow with a teenage daughter, Deidre found herself seeking practical application tools for many of life's economic challenges. Her knowledge of the business landscape, coupled with, did I turn that off? I'm sorry. Coupled with an incredible resource pool, led her to higher ground and a place of sustainability. She realized that many widows and single mothers are not as fortunate. She found herself drawn to battered women's shelters and homeless shelters in search of an economic literacy life skills platform that she could lend her time, talent, and energy to. She found just that at the Center of Family Resources, where she teaches Life Skills 101 in 4-week increments on Monday evenings. Deidre is actively engaged in life skills coaching and youth mentoring with over 18 nonprofit organizations in the metro Atlanta area. Deidre is leader in Innovative Community Reinvestment Act, CRA initiatives in her bank's 8-county assessment area as a result of ongoing training and collaborative initiatives with peer banks in her footprint. Deidre's passion for community development through the channels of CRA led her to birth the first Georgia Community Bankers Compliance CRA Collaborative in January 2012. The newly formed organization is designed to strengthen the community development infrastructure of financial institutions in Georgia by providing community banks, nonprofits, and community foundations with the resources and practical application tools to make a quantifiable difference in the development of sustainable communities in each banking partner's footprint. This collaborative will also serve as a benchmark for industry compliance, CRA, best business practices among compliance, CRA practitioners. She believes the Community Reinvestment Act, CRA, is the blueprint for true economic sustainability in our country and abroad. It simply must be viewed and executed as any other profitable business model. I also want to give Deidre a special thank you too, because being a grassroots organization, this lady has supported me in a lot of ways. Thank you, Deidre. And Deidre Cox.
Now, can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, or do I need to stand behind the podium with the microphone? I think I'm Janet Jackson, so I'm going to relive my Janet Jackson fantasy. Because I like to walk and talk a little bit, so if I can do that, if y'all can't hear me, let me know, okay? And I've got my team of my team girls, my girls over here, my duet, or my trio over here. So we're going to pass out some trick in a little while, because I really want to get people engaged. I think I got to turn on. Technology are not necessarily us, but we're going to work it out today. How about that? I'm going to sit behind you, Mr. Chris, because I'm going to walk and talk a little bit. So the anatomy of economic sustainability. Yes, sir. Oh, the light is best when I'm behind. Oh, so you can take a picture of me. So can I skip back up there in a minute? Sure. Okay. You'll have to excuse me. I can be out of control. So the anatomy of economic sustainability, I want to tell you guys a story, and the story is about my growing up experience. And I bet you many of you in this room have had this experience. I had a pawpaw. Anybody got a pawpaw? So his name was Clarence Smallwood. And Clarence Smallwood I loved with all my heart, and he loved me back. He loved me so much so that when we would go to visit, initially when I was a little girl, they had an outhouse. Anybody know what an outhouse is? Anybody know about the outhouse back in the day? Okay? So he used to take soda pop bottles to the grocery store, and he would get the change back, because you could turn them in, right? So he'd get the change back. Now this man used to walk 5 miles to work, because he worked on the railroad. He had a 3rd grade education, but he walked 5 miles to the railroad job he had every morning. But then he would come back in the afternoon, take a shower, and then go over to the white side of town, and he would do yards. He was a landscaper on that side of town. So whenever we were fortunate enough to come in town sometimes on a Sunday or a Saturday, I'd see my papa out there doing yard work. So he said to me one day, he said, Dee Dee, he says, Papa wants to give you something. I said, what do you want to give me, Papa? He said, I want to open up a savings account for you. Now my mother and my auntie thought that was funny, because my grandfather never, ever darkened the door of a bank. But guess what? He bought a brand new car every year, cash money. Anybody got a pawpaw like that? He had a little tin box that he used to put all his money in, and he thought we didn't know where it was. But we knew where the box was, but we didn't know where the key was, okay? Because he got the key. I don't know where it was, but I never wanted to know. So when he decided it was time to open an account for me, my mother said, well, Daddy, how are you going to do that when you won't go to the bank? And he said, it was his love. It was his love for me that caused him to walk in the doors of the bank. And he never went in that bank because he didn't trust the people in the bank. But he walked in that bank just for me. And when he walked in the bank, because everybody knew this was a small town in Missouri, and they knew he bought a car new every year, so they said, Clarence got some money somewhere, and we want it up in here, up in here. So he opened an account, but then they encouraged him to buy a house. They said, Clarence, don't you want to buy a house for that baby so she can go to the bathroom when she comes to visit you and not go to the outhouse? It was his love for me. It was his love for me. And what I see today, when I'm grassrooting it, when I'm out there with the babies, when I'm out there with the mamas, I don't see the love. I don't see enough love that was generated 2 and 3 generations, but I gotta tell you guys, I give you a round of applause, and my educator over here, I give you a round of applause, and I love you because you brought the baby. You came with the baby. That's her teacher right there to the left. And that's our mama over there. She came with her baby because she's proud of her and she's a runner-up. And you all, and mama, I give you a round of applause because you honored your man over here. And you said, yeah, that's her daddy because she's made up of both of you. I don't see enough of that when I go out and I do grassroots work. So when people ask me, oh, Deirdre, we want you to come and do a financial literacy workshop, I said, hold on. Before I start talking about budgets, before we start breaking down how you spend A and B and then it becomes C, I need to know where you are. I need to know what your vision is about money because truly money is an emotional matter. It really is. How you feel about yourself is how you feel about your money. And I'm here to tell you today, I contend that people don't feel good about themselves, and when they don't feel good about themselves, they don't feel good about their money, and the money ends up going out the window because it goes to things that it should not necessarily go towards. So I want to engage you today in the anatomy of economic sustainability. So anatomy, I had to go to the dictionary because God just has me doing that these days. So the anatomy, what is it? It's the study of the structure or internal workings of something. Did you get that? It's the study of the structure of the internal workings of something, and this is the something, the internal workings, okay? The economics, the condition of a region or group as relating to material prosperity. That part right there, the economics, that part's missing in the anatomy of so many people. And I'm going to tell you a story. We're going to have to change the term that we use, low to moderate income. I went to a nonprofit this past weekend, and I said low to moderate income. And the ladies looked at me and said, you just swore at me. So I call them high potential. Can we change the word? Can we say high potential? Can we say high potential? Because it's the love that will change the way they operate and the way they think. Because it's the love that changed how we think, right? So it's high potential. It's no longer low to moderate. Because when I say low, I'm down here, I'm low. But there's nothing low about me. And when I say moderate, what I'm telling you is moderate is only as good as it's going to be for you. That's as good as it's going to get. And that's no kind of thing to say to somebody. That's not an empowering word or a vision to paint for someone. So we got to get people to the place and point where they want to understand the dynamics of the economics. And then sustainability is able to be used. Able to be used without being completely used up or destroyed. We have communities that have been used up and destroyed. We have people that don't have hope. I was fortunate enough to go to Nashville, Tennessee last week with Susan, my wonderful Susan Davis. These are my brand girls. I got Susan Davis, Amy Gish, and Miss Tony Hughes, and she runs the compliance department. And I'll tell you what, these are some bad girls over here. So I was fortunate enough to go to Nashville, where Nashville, Tennessee, many of you may know this, the academic, the career academies. Anybody heard of the career academies model? Where you're truly not just focused on test scores anymore, but you're actually putting children on a career path. 10-year career path. How amazing is that? So they get out of high school and they actually have a career path. So we were fortunate enough to go visit 2 schools in Nashville, and it blew my mind. Kids are over there tinkering on airplanes. They have a bank in one of the schools. I'm like, oh my God, they have a hospitality suite, 2 schools. They actually have bistros in these schools. The children cook. They run it. They're the maitre d'. These kids were so happy because they were focused on something that they were passionate about. This was the interesting thing. When we walked out, I don't know if you noticed this, Susan, but there were some young people that were not a part of that academy. Those young people were walking around with their heads hung low. But the ones that were a part of the academy, they dressed how they wanted to be addressed. They had their suit jackets on, they had their emblems on, and they had their heads held high, and they were walking it out. They had a purpose. So I contend today that each one of us in here, everybody in this room has a vision, because if you didn't have a vision, you wouldn't be sitting in this room. Am I correct? Now, my friend and I, we talked about vision, because I have these transition lens, whatever these things are, the one with the, bifocal. I can't find the sweet spot. So if I lift my glasses up and do this, because I can't find the sweet spot in my glasses. But we have vision even with or without our glasses, right? So let's talk a little bit about what our story, what story we can see here as we look at Metro Atlanta. So education. So when you look at the quick facts in the census, this is nothing that I created and dreamt up last night. High school and some college, 87% of our population has high school diploma and some college. Bachelor's degree, 46.2. You got a home ownership rate of 46%, median income of $46,000, persons living below the poverty rate, 24.3, unemployment at 7%, and more than 10,000 people in Metro Atlanta are homeless on any given night. And that's women and children, predominantly women and children. And these statistics, they change because this is a moving target here, right? So when I look at the bachelor's degree, when I look at the number of degreed people, I say, well, Perhaps that's why we got folks living at 24.3% of the people living below the poverty rate. Perhaps that's indicative of why the unemployment rate is where it is, because I read something else this morning that talked about the unemployment rate among African Americans. So we have to stop and take a look at what we're exposing our young people to. There's some book I read that said, without a vision, the people perish. Anybody ever heard that? I read that in a book. I can't remember where I read it, but it said, without a vision, the people perish. So we have to give our babies a vision. I also heard a nonprofit say to me one time, I don't focus on the parents, I focus on the children. And I strike that from the record. I strike it from the record. Because how can you deal with a young person if you don't actively engage with their parents? Because it's the household that you want to change. So, I say to you, look at these statistics, and I want each of you to think about how we can change these statistics. I love the Brookings Institute. They've been here numerous times, but they have this study on poverty right now. And I'm going to do my best to really help you guys understand this, because I had to read it 4 times. So they took a look, they have a calculation called the 95-20, where they look at the individuals in a MSA, a metropolitan service area, that are making 95% of the income in an area, okay? And we have the wealthy here are getting wealthier. There's nothing wrong with that, because I'm a capitalist too, because I'm a banker, right? But there's 20% of the people that are generating the other portion of that income, and they can't even hit the ceiling. They can't even hit the ceiling because of those graduation rates we talked about, because of those college degrees, and because they don't have the skill set required. So then when you look at the city of Atlanta's livable wage, go to the livable wage calculator. $22.62 an hour is what's required for an adult with 2 children. That's what's required. $22 an hour. So when I walk into my nonprofit organizations and I say to moms, they're tired. They're tired because they just got back from their second job where they're making $7 an hour. They're tired because their baby's a senior in high school, and every time she comes home, she's asking about senior dues, and she's got to pay for pictures, and oh, by the way, it's prom day, mommy. She's tired because her car just broke down that she bought from the buy here, pay here place, and the engine fell out, and she still has to make a payment, and the car won't start. She doesn't know how she's going to get from point. She's tired. So when I say to her $22.62 an hour, she thinks I fell off the bus and lost my head, and she thinks I'm swearing at her, and she doesn't see me as friend now. She sees me as foe. So the things that we can do in this room, with our educators, with our public, with our private sector partnerships, we can give our babies, like Mr. Rob Batiste and his wife, through his organization, we can give them a vision. We can allow them to see what it looks like to be a healthcare practitioner, what it looks like to make $25.82 an hour, what it looks like to matriculate through college. We can help people, our babies, and some parents, because we need to bring the parents up. STEM education is a big deal. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Do you all know that some parents in some of our high potential communities don't even know what STEM is? I said, that's not a green, baby. It's a career path. It's not a green, it's a career path. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, $26.99 an hour. And then business and financial operations. They can come hang out with us, can't they? Business and financial operations, $29.70 an hour. So what I say to you again is we have to be able to give people a vision of what it looks like to live that life. Some of the kids that I deal with, we just moved from Peachtree City, so don't laugh. Okay, Rod heard this story. So Peachtree City to the city of Atlanta. My daughter, I'm a public school baby, so I believe in public school. Public school's gonna get me what I need for my baby, or they're gonna die trying. Because I'm gonna get what my daughter needs, because I believe that everybody has the right to a public school education. So we moved from Peachtree City to the city of Atlanta, and my daughter says to me, Mom, the kids are hopeless. But when I see Rod walk into Maynard Jackson High School, and I see some of the babies from Maynard Jackson High School in his program on a Saturday, I see more hope than I've ever seen. When he brings his kids down to the Brand Bank facility, and we have lunch together, and we take them on a career path, and a fair where they walk through from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor to the 1st floor, and they begin to see what careers look like in banking. That everybody's not standing behind a teller line, because that's not where the money's made. When they see the private bankers back there crunching millions of dollars, they see that there's somebody over there running that virtual teller machine, and because he's servicing the machine and can fix the machine, he's making about $32 an hour. When they see that, that lights their eyes up. So now they see that what they're learning in school is actually something that they may be able to apply. So I ask you today, what can we do in this room? I liken community development to growing a community garden. Where I grew up in New York City, and I told you about my papa in Missouri, but I used to go visit him, but my dad decided he had bigger dreams, so we moved to New York. So when we moved to New York, we moved into a co-op on 104th and Central Park West. Any New Yorkers in the house? Hey! Hey, okay. Okay, back here, okay. All right, so there was I I said, ooh, people don't even look at each other here in this city. My dad said, don't look at anybody, don't make eye contact, just get on the bus and mind your business, don't look at anybody. I said, okay. But then I looked out the back room, at the back of my back window, and I saw this garden. There was a community garden back there on Manhattan Avenue, and everybody had a patch of the garden. So we had some people that would grow carrots, and others that would grow cucumbers, and others that would grow watermelon. So there was always something growing in the garden. So I contend today, and I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, I'm imploring you, we need to pick up our tools, and we need to go get in the garden. Because we need to grow a garden, okay? And there's a harvest in the garden. So what can we do? So we got the soil or the anatomy has got to be analyzed to determine what it needs to reap a harvest. Now, Jessica Farr taught me really well. Jessica Farr, Federal Reserve is our examiner. Jessica Farr taught me very well. She said, she's our CRA examiner. She said, Deirdre, as a bank, you have to know your dirt. You have to know your territory. So if you're creating initiatives that are not even relevant to what's going on in your marketplace, then what are you doing? Then you're totally shooting in the dark. So when I do my digging and I go out into the dirt, I got to get with the people. I got to find out what's really going on with the people. Where are you? Why aren't you graduating from high school? What's the issue? Why is mama staying home? Why are there 3 and 4 generations of welfare recipients in your family? Those are the questions that I get to ask. So after I find out the answer, then I can determine what can be planted in that fertile soil. Because all soil is fertile. It just depends on the acidity. It just depends on what's in the soil. All soil is fertile. And then you got to plant seeds. So what seed do you plant? Is it the seeds of financial literacy? Is it the seeds of workforce development? What seeds do you plant? And then how often should we water and prune? And do we need special ingredients? Because for some of this dirt, you need some special ingredients, let me tell you. You can't go in there. Sometimes you have to go in there with your hard hat. But you got to stay. Okay? So community gardening at work, and that's what this is in my eyes today. This is about community collaboration. And Venus, you have done a phenomenal job of bringing all of us together. You galvanized the troops. When I met you the first time, I remembered your energy and I remembered your passion. And when you told me, Deirdre, I'm doing all this for free, I said, girl, we got to get you some funding. You're doing an amazing job. And to have all of you here at an event for Financial Literacy Month, for Money Smart Week, this is huge, and she deserves a round of applause for her. So when Susan and I were in Nashville, one of the things that I heard an organization say, and they're the convener of private sector and nonprofit partners, and one of the things I heard the gentleman say, and I thought this was so funny, he said, now when you meet somebody, do you just ask them for money? And some of the number, yeah, of course we do, yeah, we do. He said, well, it's kind of like this. It's like that family member, your sister, when she comes to you and says, my car broke down. And she says, and I need $500. And he says, well, you're my sister, of course I'm going to give you $500. Versus the family member you don't even know that comes to the family reunion and steps up to you and says, hey, can you? No, I don't even know you like that. I don't even know if I like you. Are we blood related, really? So what I contend today is that all of our partners, we got to get to know each other. Anybody ever heard this adage, nobody wants to know how much you know, but they want to know how much you care? And people are not seeking to understand, but they want to be understood. As a private sector partner, how many private sector partners do we have in here? Corporations? So corporations, okay. So there's 2, okay. 3, okay, so corporations. So as a corporation, okay, you're a corporation too, okay. So as a corporation, you're for profit, right?
Yes.
So you're a capitalist. Okay, it's nice to meet you, sir. It's very nice to meet you. I am as well. However, I'm a capitalist with a heart, and I'm a capitalist with a purpose, and I'm a capitalist with a strategy. So I'm always looking to help other people become the same thing. They don't have to be the capitalist that I am, but I want them to be able to get their pie in the sky too, right? And I want them to be able to live and not just survive. So I contend this future workforce. Anybody that's a private sector partner in here, all your nonprofit partners, how many nonprofit partners do we have in the room? Okay. So you all are the keeper of human capital. You're the keeper of human capital. You have to keep. How many babies do you have?
Probably 35.
This is Brand's future workforce right here. This is the Federal Reserve Bank. This is your future workforce right here. When I tell you he's got some folks that can work in your research department that will do it justice and take it to the next level. So you are the keeper of human capital. So we have to sit down and we have to look at what are your needs and what are my needs. And because you're the convener and you are the keeper of human capital, you can then go to your nonprofit partner. You can then come to your private sector partner and talk about what does it look like for us to develop this human capital. So those numbers that we saw on the first page, those numbers don't continue to be those numbers. I want to see us change those numbers 2014 through 2015. I want to see us change them by 10%. And the only way we're going to do it is through partnership. Long-term customer relationships. Any of my CRA practitioners in the house? Any CRA practitioners in the house? Okay, they all didn't come today. Okay, it's just me. So I will say this. No longer should we as banking institutions decide that we're going to invest and put our CRA investments in 2 months before a CRA exam, because that's not a relationship. I just threw something. I just did like that. I just, whoop, okay, there you go. And then what happens? I don't know where it went, because I knew that something was going to happen, and I checked the box. So because I checked the box, now I don't even know if it's quantifiable. I don't even know if it's going to reap the fruit that I'm looking to reap. I don't even know. I don't know. So then the story is told when you do your research, and you say, well, how come it's not working? Well, we don't know why it's working, because there was no strategy. There was no sitting down and understanding what are your needs, and this is what I can do for you. So I contend we've got to sit down and reason together. I've got to understand you. You've got to understand me. Don't ask me for money yet, because what I have for you may not be what you need, because all money is not good money. Does that make sense? Okay. So community gardening at work again. So nonprofit and public sector partners are the keepers of that fertile soil. So let's look at our supportive housing partners. Let's look at our shelters. This is all your high potential. This is where your high potential. So we say high potential because they're at that income level of 80% or below the HUD median income. This is not all the places that they dwell, but this is where many of them dwell. And we've got to go in there and we've got to understand the people. And sometimes you've got to attach and assign someone else that understands the people, because they have a skill set that's required to understand the people, right? Because I don't expect you, Rod, to be able to go in and perform open heart surgery, but you've come in and you've done it. You went to Rainbow Village with me. You went to the Lawrenceville Housing Authority with me, and you jumped in the pool, and you definitely anesthetized those women because they were ready to learn. And there's 2 of them now that are ready for homeownership because you came in and taught them and they're saving. So that's what a partnership looks like. So when I say that it's time for us to begin to collaborate, we have to collaborate by thinking with the end in mind. So I want you all to think about, what does the end look like for the babies at Maynard Jackson High School? What does the end look like for the homeless population here in Atlanta? What does the end look like for the moms and kids that are partners against domestic violence? What does the end look like? What does the end look like for these babies over here that so diligently wrote their papers and they won? What does the end look like? This one over here tells me that she wants to be, what do you want to be again?
A nurse.
She wants to be a nurse. So what does it look like? She doesn't have the cover of a magazine because she created some amazing new science technology, some new medication. This one right here tells me she wants to be.
Criminal investigator.
So I see crime being reduced greatly because this baby she's now a part of the workforce of tomorrow. So what does the end look like? Don't look at tomorrow, but look at what the end looks like. Because when you look at what the end looks like, then you can work your way towards the middle. And then you can bring people along, all along the way. And then we can bring our resources together and we can heal some of those numbers that we saw earlier. I really believe right now the generational family impact we need to have is great. So we can't just deal with the babies anymore. We have got to find ways of reaching the parents, the grandparents, the aunties, whomever it is that's raising those children. Because we have an opportunity to make a double digit. We can hit 2 generations, sometimes 3 generations with the work that we're doing. So I want you all to think about how and when you're ready to make the change, how you can identify your cause, identify smaller control groups. One of the things that we did at Brand is, as opposed to going out into a whole county, because we have, and on my bio I have 8 counties, but Brand now has 16 counties. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And there's 293 low to moderate or high potential income tracts within that 16 county assessment area. So when you talk about the number of people that we have to be able to target, it gets to be very overwhelming. So what we do is we've now focused in on support groups of 20, control groups of 20 people. Okay? 20 people in control groups so that we can actually quantify and actually research and track what's going on with those folks. So when I touch a child, if that child was in ISS when we touched that child initially, where's that child now that we've gone through a year's worth of working with that child? Is that child now out of ISS? We're doing some work with Judge Rodney Harris in Gwinnett County, and all of his babies are in the system. They all have records, and they're from the 9th to 11th grade. So what can we do over the course of a year to impact those young people, to give them a vision, because they don't have a vision? One young man told me that his mom and dad died when he was 2, and he's been in the system ever since. So he smokes weed, and he goes to gang fights to see who's going to die. What kind of way is that to live your life? He has no vision. But because we went in there and we sat down with him and did a vision board with him, he now sees that his life could be something different. He took the GED, they gave him a practice GED and all of them failed. And he said, oh, I'm going back to school. Can you help me get back into Meadow Creek? Because I want to graduate. I don't want to take the GED and say that I failed the GED. I want to finish school. What do I have to do to stop smoking weed? Because this thing gets on me because I miss my mom. So now the young lady that we have going in, Sandy Bailey, whom you haven't met, he looks to her because she's his mentor. So from that, and thank you so much because I'm having my private summer. From that, you got to identify your cause and then focus in on the smaller control group so that you can tell a story. At the end of the day, my friend here has to be able to tell a story that what we do matters and that it works. And in order for banks and private sector partners to release their checkbooks, we have to show that it works. We have to show that what we're doing matters and that we're changing the landscape. So identify your collaborative partners by finding some like-minded corporations or social causes. Identify the quantifiable impact that you want to make. So identify what it is you want to change. Is it graduation rates? Is it workforce development? What is it that you want to change? And I told my friend back there, I told Joy that I was going to pass out my little cards, but I'm going to pass them out as we go on because I know that I've been up here much longer than I was supposed to. But I want to pass out cards to all my private sector partners. So raise your hand again if you're a private sector partner. Okay. And then my nonprofit partners. Okay. And then my government agencies, my regulators, my FDICs, okay. I want those of you that have a specific cause, I want you guys to connect with somebody that you haven't connected with while you're here today. Find out about them. Don't go and ask them for money, but find out what they do. Who do they participate with? What patch of the soil, what patch of the garden are they hanging out in? And maybe they could take you to their patch of the garden and you guys can do some amazing things together. Okay? So today it's about collaboration. It's about making a change and being willing to really go deep in the garden. So find out where your garden tools are. Get some dirt under your fingernails, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Deidre, and yes, you had much more time. No, wasn't she wonderful? And so you can understand why I invited her to be our keynote speaker, because she is really believes in collaboration. Her energy is just phenomenal, and I love this lady. I really do. I really do. So we're going to move on to the next part, which is the Money Smart Essay Contest, Country Financial. And so I'm going to introduce Alexis Holt. Alexis Sierra Holt, a Windstorm Financial representative for Country Financial Metro Atlanta. West Agency, with her office being located in Dunwoody, Georgia, she has over 9 years spearheading sales and marketing for companies in the middle of transition uplifts. Alexis has led countless marketing initiatives that increase market awareness, generated leads that has resulted in significant revenue. Alexis is very active in the Metro Atlanta community. This is her second year participating in the Money Smart Week alongside Country Financial. And that's right, because you were at our first one. Thank you. She offers financial planning for auto, home, life, and retirement, helping you achieve financial security. Alexis has had consistent top sales since her career began with Country Financial in 2012. She is a very active member of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, and the founder of Girls Life Charm School nonprofit organization. Recently, she was inducted into the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Metro Atlanta chapter. Outside of all these great attributes, she is the proud mother of a handsome son, Masada Lamar Hart. Welcome, Alexis. Thank you.
Thank you, Venus. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alexis Holt from Country Financial. We're actually thrilled to be celebrating Money Smart Week here in Atlanta with all of you today. It's great to partner with the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta on Money Smart Week. Like them and our fellow partners, we share a common vision of helping families achieve financial security. We are proud to sponsor the Money Smart Kids Essay Contest in Chicago, St. Louis, and now the Money Smart Kid and Teen Essay Contest here in Atlanta. Being financially literate is a crucial first step to becoming financially secure. And the young people we are recognizing today certainly are money smart. I am honored to introduce the Money Smart Kid and Teen Essay runner-ups and winners. They successfully demonstrated the principles of investing and convinced us to invest in community resources like a youth center and safe sidewalks, education, and including a nursing school and engineering. My friends, rest assured, our future is in good hands. We are surrounded by compassionate and highly intelligent, money-smart young people. All right, and right now, we're actually gonna go ahead and give out our scholarships to our winners. Okay. Our first award is going to go to our 2014 Money Smart Kid runner-up, receiving a $500 scholarship, is Lanisha Powell of Adamson Middle School. Let's give Lanisha a round of applause. Now our 2014 Money Smart Kid winner receiving a $2,000 scholarship is Markayla Hanna of Trickham Middle School. And now for the Money Smart Teens. Our 2014 Money Smart Teen runner-up receiving a $500 scholarship is Jatora Price of Booker T. Washington High School. And now our 2014 Money Smart Teen winner, receiving a $2,000 scholarship, is Melanie Williams of Sprayberry High School. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's congratulate all of our teen and kid Money Smart winners. Congratulations. Yes. Okay. Who's gonna go first? Okay. So first, we're gonna have our kid Money Smart winner to come up and actually read her essay. If I could just get back to her name, hold on. Okay, that would be Markayla Hanna.
Good afternoon. My name is Markayla Hanna, and I am a 7th grader at Trickham Middle School, and today I will be reading my essay with you all on how I would invest in my community. One night while eating dinner, my mom mentioned a homeless student who did not have school supplies for a project. This was new information to me. I never even thought about kids sitting in my class who previously nestled in a car overnight. When I looked into the topic, I learned that there are more than 1.5 million children each year, and Georgia has the second highest rate in the country. In fact, the number of homeless students at my school increased. My parents say it's often due to a lack of financial stability. This is so sad. Well, I must admit that I do not know everything about financial literacy, but I am learning the importance of saving, spending, investing, and giving back. When I think about the word investment, I learned it means using money to create more money, like the college plan my parents had for me. On the contrary, expenses are monies that we spend with no return, like my trendy clothes. If I could make a good investment in my community, I would invest in a community center that would benefit my homeless peers whose parents are economically unstable. My new center would offer kids tutoring, food, clothing, medical care, and other services. They would also need to be involved just like me. Therefore, transportation services will get them to and from band concerts, student council, or softball practice. By helping them, more will attend college and learn to be economically stable. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Surely investing in my community is a good investment. Helping kids like myself to be successful not only creates change, but it builds more wealth than we could ever imagine. This is what making money is all about. Thank you.
That was a wonderful essay, wasn't it? Let's give her another round of applause. And now we will have our Money Smart Teen winner, Melanie, to come and read her essay. Melanie Williams.
Good afternoon. I invite you to become a partner in the education of Melanie Williams, future medical professional of the South. I am offering shares valued at $500 to $2,000. This money will be used to supplement my college education. The associated risks are minimal. At some point, we may encounter a slight decline along the way as I adjust to managing my time, deal with homesickness, or possibly change my major. Please be assured that the adjustment curve will be slight. As with most long-term investments, the expected compound rate of return will outweigh the costs. As an investor, you have no obligations. I will do all of the work. My intended major is nursing. The future is bright for this in-demand profession. Your investment will supplement tuition and book costs, as well as other fees associated with college. Over the past 12 years, I've performed consistently with good grades while participating in various extracurricular activities. In college, I will continue this trend. As an investor, you can expect that I will be a success in my chosen field as I serve my community with honesty and compassion. Thank you for taking the time to learn about this fabulous opportunity. In return for your funding participation, you will have the satisfaction of knowing that you helped lay the foundation of one of the best medical professionals around. We can work together towards my goal of earning a college degree and making a difference. Thank you for your kind consideration.
Weren't those excellent essays? They did such a great job, and we were so excited. Yes. Congratulations again. We had, how many, about, 40 entries our first time around, and we did have a couple of honorable mentions, but we were so excited to have those entries, and again, congratulations to all of you. So actually, we're running ahead of schedule, and that's really good. Just want to take this time to recognize our committee members, the planning team. Can you all stand up for me, please? This could not have been done, and we need more, so we're looking forward to having all of you on the committees this following year, but we want to recognize those who did the hard work. Some couldn't be here, some are in their tax season, some were traveling because it's spring break, but trust me, we only had a few that wore many, many hats. And I really want to give an extra thank you to Rod Batiste and Adrian Batiste and Al Parker and, well, Pavani's not here as well, and Marta Shin, who took extra care and did far beyond what I could have imagined. Like I said, this isn't a campaign for one person, it's a collaborative all, and some of us are so passionate, and we just jump in and just get the work done. So I want to thank you all because we couldn't do it, and I want to thank the Fed again for hosting this event. This was half the battle here because we did want to convene everyone, all the partners, and all the partners in here. Who's actually a partner in the room? Can you raise your hand? Hi, I want to see. So next year, I want to see everybody's hands up, double hands, and then bring your colleagues, and let's make this a more powerful campaign. Thank you so much for your attendance, for coming. It shows that you are just as passionate as we are when you brave the rain. I thank you so much. If you could stay around and take a few pictures so that we can have them for social media, drive your people to the site, your communities to the site for financial education classes, moneysmartweek.org. There's classes going on throughout the U.S. Plenty of workshops out there. Please share with your communities. And then our local site is Get Money Smart Atlanta for the local news. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again next year.